This is the Wandering Mike.
Welcome everyone to the Wandering Mike. Today I'm here with Kai. Hey Kai, how's it going?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I've been sick for the last couple of days, but other than that, nothing serious. But now, with Perth slowly going into winter,
Yeah.
I think my body was just
Yeah.
a little bit tacked.
That's the same for me as well. I just come from Thailand and the nice hot
Yeah.
weather. Coming to this, it's not that cold, but it's a big change in temperature, I suppose. So
Yeah.
I've got a bit of a cold too. So there we go.
So we're the cold team.
We are the cold team. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always funny, like in places like here or when I was in Portugal, and if you're kind of used to the weather or if you come from somewhere where it's hot and then other people, like people from Germany just came to Portugal and it had like 19 degrees and they were like, oh, it's so warm. And I was like,
Yeah.
it's so cold. Like how it's always, it just depends on what the body's used to.
Yeah.
For some people, it's warm. For some people, it's cold. It's funny how that works.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. I'm happy to be here though. It's nice in Australia, Perth.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. When did you arrive? Like a week back? Not even.
Yeah. So we arrived. Probably about 6-7 days ago now. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were in Thailand. That was really nice. We were actually supposed to be in Thailand for quite a while,
Right.
but we did another 180, and we decided to come here. I get to be with my sister, which I'm very happy with. I have missed her a lot. She's obviously been here for
Oh wow.
a year and a half now, coming up to 2 years, sort of thing. So that was amazing seeing her. It's just start a life here maybe.
Yeah. So before we do get into all of that, because I feel like there's a little bit to talk about with your like current adventures as well. If you just want to tell us a little bit about you in general, just so we know who is this Kai guy. It's just spitting wisdom here. Like,
Okay, so like you say, I'm Kai. I'm 22 now. I'm from Brighton in England. I lived there my whole life. I do really like the city, but I needed a change massively. I've got a million siblings. I've got 7 siblings. Obviously, one of them being here.
right.
I've done so many jobs. I've learned a lot from each job I've done, whether good or bad.
Right.
And then otherwise, what else can I say about me? I like jiu-jitsu. I like Muay Thai. I like football. And yeah, that's sort of a little summary of me, I suppose.
No, that's fair. We're gonna dig a bit deeper into all these things during our conversation anyway. But the jujitsu thing is really, because I feel like there's a little hype starting at the hostel now, because Fraser told me about it last week or maybe even two weeks ago when he started going back
Yeah.
and he was coming back from jujitsu and he was like, oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
And I feel like we should just all go, like the whole hostel should just
Yeah, it'd be great.
Like,
It'd be
go-
really good fun. Yeah, really
go
good
to
fun.
jujitsu. So what is it for you about like sports in general, but also like martial arts? Like what is exciting?
So I've always had a very competitive edge in me. So I love the battle when in any sort of sport, whether it's with yourself or it's against another team, both.
Yeah.
That really gets me going. I don't like losing, which I really don't like losing. As you might have seen from a couple of chess games against Alfish. So yeah, but I've always loved running around, especially when there's like a end goal. So say let's use football for example. Scoring a goal is like amazing, but then you go to jiu-jitsu and you get the same sort of euphoria, I suppose, from
Right.
even just getting in a attacking position, in a winning position in that point in time, like chess sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's just I love what it does to my brain, like how it makes me feel afterwards. I've used it. I've used sport and just exercise, for example, as a big help for me and my sort of mental throughout my life. Um, and I feel like even when I was younger, when I used to cycle all the time, I would find myself just go out for a cycle if I was in a bad mood, and I'd come back
Mm.
and you know just feel fresh again, sort of thing. So I love how it affects me in every way, even bad, getting
Yeah.
injured and stuff like that, for example.
Right. I feel like the mental health aspect of it all is a super important one. Though I feel like it's like becoming more and more known, but especially when I was growing up, it was like the fitness scene. It was 90% about fitness. You want to get healthy, you want to get
Yeah,
like fit and all that. But the mental aspect is such an because I feel like that applies to everyone because
yeah,
everyone I meet, everyone, and for myself as well, every time I go to the gym, um, like every day or almost every day, and then I have phases where I don't get to go to the gym. Like you can feel that and then you're like, oh, I just want to go out for a 1 hour walk just to do something,
yeah.
to get like
No, exactly.
get
Yeah.
some movement in.
And especially with like gym, for example, like I think the best I've felt after a gym session is when I've felt the worst before going into it, because
Right.
it's almost like all the anger or all the frustration I've built up inside of me
Yeah.
is being slammed against those weights, and it's just it's you, the weight, and feeling good afterwards. And when you go in not feeling good and you come out afterwards and you've got a nice pump, or you've just hit a PB or whatever it is,
Yeah.
it's just everything's okay.
No, I love it. For me, I love weight training.
Yeah,
Something I yet kind of, I mean, I don't have to, but I would love if I could find more enjoyment out of running as well. Because I know a lot of people, they tell me exactly those things that you just described in the gym.
yeah,
Like I experience them as well in the gym. Like they experience that with running.
yeah,
For me, it's just, yeah, I can't really do it that long term and be like, so for me, it needs to be weights. It needs to
yeah,
be like,
yeah. I've done running a little bit. I've never. I used to be very good at long distance, but I haven't done
oh, yeah.
really any running really for many years. I've been maybe 10 in the past year, maybe. So
Right.
it's not a lot, but and when I first started doing the running, there was no euphoria afterwards. It was just dying, trying
That sounds like me.
to.
So,
So yeah, but yeah, I agree. I also feel like I need to do more running, more yeah, cardiovascular stuff.
yeah, I just feel like it's a good thing for the body. It's just for me, it's just, and I don't know if people feel similar. It's easier to motivate yourself to like lift some weight
Yeah. No,
than
I agree.
actually go for a run. Even though you have to say, like, we live in a beautiful spot. Like, you can just go down 5 minutes, you're at the beach, and
Yeah,
just run along the beach.
yeah,
Like, we would have it so easy.
yeah. Well, there we go. Maybe
So
we've got a little activity to do.
tomorrow morning, I'll wake you up at 4 a.m. Let's go.
Throw some ice water over this.
You?
Yeah, it's run time, bitch.
Yeah. Um, so another thing that I was interested in is I don't know exactly where Brighton is, but I kind of, for some reason, I feel like I've been there with my parents. Maybe I haven't, but I have a picture of Brighton in my head, which is like a very small coastal town. Is that correct?
It's a coastal town, yeah.
So I saw none of my pictures, the right picture. Um, so I'll stop guessing and I'll just ask. So how was growing up in Brighton?
Um. Oh. Oh, I like that question. It was nice. It was nice. I I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the schools I went to. Um, they we went to basically. I went to I think only the two schools. Actually, there might have been a third school, but there was only like two or three schools in Brighton that didn't wear any
Right.
uniform or anything like that.
Oh
And
yeah.
I ended up going to both of them, which was really nice. Uh, I used to play football all the time, which was great. Um, yeah, it was it was weird because I always did love Brighton, and we used to live like right next to the sea, so literally
Right.
just by the pier, like
Hmm.
100 meters away from the beach. Well, a bit more, but not far. So
Yeah.
we used to go down the beach all the time. We used to have a load of fun there. My sister's got some funny memories in that place. Um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it was nice. I don't know. It's a bit weird. It's a bit weird. And like I say now, I've definitely had enough of it. I definitely needed a change. I've enjoyed my time there, and I think that's that for the moment, sort of thing.
So, because I genuinely don't know like how big it was it like a like everyone knows everyone kind of
Mm,
town? Is it a bit bigger than that?
It depends on where you go because there's places where people are more communal, and people are more, yeah, just chatty and everything.
Yeah.
The place that I was born, that was quite like that. So people were quite communal. Everyone would knock at
Mm.
people's doors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I only lived there until I was 7, I think. And then
Mm.
we moved into a flat that was right next to all the clubs in Brighton.
All right.
Yeah, it was great. Um, and then that was that was nice, but yeah, we got on with a few of the people in. So I suppose that was kind of communal as well, actually. But then the place we moved to, the last place we lived in, where my mum still lives, that was no one really spoke to anyone. We spoke to our neighbour, one of our neighbours, and that was it. But otherwise, it's like Brighton's. I suppose it's quite big. It is quite big because it branches people from say like New Haven or Peacehaven, which is just east of Brighton.
Right.
We'll still say they're from Brighton, or people from Eastbourne, which is like a 40-minute drive away, will say they're from Brighton because
Mm. It's
it does sort of span quite large. The postcode is BN is very big. So I suppose, yeah, it is quite big, but it's not. People are doing their own thing. People are. I don't know. I've never thought it was been like massively communal, and people are. That's part of the reason why I wanted to leave England as well, because people just think shit. People just whatever. No.
it, it's funny like that because with a lot of British people that I speak to, not necessarily on the podcast, but in general,
Mm.
I kind of have the feeling that a lot of what's going on in English society and why a lot of especially backpackers leave is similar to why people from Germany leave as well. Because I always say the same thing. It's like when I'm in Germany, I just don't agree with the mentality. Like it's obviously a place where the system works relatively well. Like every
Yeah.
system has problems, but objectively, it's a great system. It's a great place for you to like grow up and have
Mm.
securities and stability and all
Yeah.
that. But I just feel, especially compared to the other places I lived, like Portugal, like Indonesia, that people in those countries are way warmer. Like they're
Yeah.
so communal. Like on the street, if someone talks to you, like it doesn't matter if you know them.
Yeah.
It's like you're like, yeah, of course. How can I help you?
Yeah.
And then they tell you, oh yeah, my mom. Did. And they're so fast. Like they're just so fast and like you talk to me, so like part of the family.
Yeah.
I'll tell you everything.
That's
And
how it should be. Everyone should be like that. And like, to be honest with you, I did think that Germany was better than England with that sort of thing
right,
because we went to Düsseldorf and
right,
we'd met quite a few nice people. Like people were very happy to help us on our way, direct us places, like offer us drinks or whatever. Like we were lost in one place and some guy in his house was like,
right.
"You need to go this way. Oh, do you want a drink?" Superstar. Um, but yeah, and I really don't feel that. as much in England, but you're definitely right. Like even in Thailand, everyone's so much nicer. Everyone's
Yeah.
just welcoming, like friendly, fun. Try to make conversation with you as well. Like they want to know about you.
Mm.
England, no one cares about you. They're
Like,
doing
oh,
their
you're
thing.
here now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, let's go into the most current adventures.
Mm.
So, um, you said we a bunch of times. So for the people that don't know, yeah, who you're traveling with and what was the original plan? What happened so far? Just take us through the adventure.
Okay. So I was we were basically going to move to Manchester in England,
Right,
right? So from maybe probably a year ago now, we first made the plan, and we started. Well, I started getting myself out of a situation I put myself in,
right,
and I suppose Alfie as well. But then because yeah, my friend Alfie, sorry, that's who I'm traveling with. We've been friends since we were like 6, so that's
that's
nice.
amazing.
Yeah, that's really nice.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and then yeah, we're gonna move to Manchester, and then it got to a point where we were working towards it. We were nearly financially there, and I had like a little moment where I was just like, "Do I want to move to Manchester and continue my life doing the job I was doing, which I didn't like, um, and try and start again up there, or should I just fuck it all off and go and start afresh, try something new?" So I thought, you know what, let's do it. So we booked a flight to Thailand, um, with not, we did not have enough money to do that. But saying that, I'm very happy now that we did, even though the finances weren't there, because
Right.
I, I, I much prefer being away from England than in England. So yeah, so now we're in, yeah, got to Thailand, stayed there, ended up basically just working all day, every day, not really enjoying any of it, trying to secure our money, like more money. And then we thought, you know what, we can stay in Thailand and we can risk having to go home, or we go to Australia now and
Right.
we work for a little bit, and the plan can then move forward a bit later. So that's my travel plans. That's my travel situation at the moment.
So when you're saying you'll just continue to plan later, is that plan Thailand? Is that plan Southeast Asia? If it is it even more like well, what's on your like list of places to see in
Well, I want to see everywhere. I would love to go absolutely everywhere. There's not a country I wouldn't visit. So that's definitely, yeah, that's definitely the start. But the plan is to sort ourselves out basically. That is the plan. And then once we, yeah, sort ourselves out a bit, then the next step will happen. And the next step is undecided, but we've got a direction, and we'll just keep on working towards that.
well, the thing is these episodes sometimes go deeper, sometimes they don't go as deep. But from what you're telling me, I kind of want to go a bit deeper. As it sounds like you've got a good perspective on things. And I'm just honestly always curious how people see the world and
Okay.
like how they go about things. Because from just the way you told me your story, you like having done a bunch of different jobs, being there, nice little home, all that, and now just yeah, wanting to see something else, maybe want to figure out something else. So, what would you say? What have you found for yourself to be like the main objective in life? Like some people they can tell you 100%, I want to be a lawyer. Like
Mm-mm.
that defines their life. Some
Yeah.
people, I want to build a family. That defines their life. What would you say is your main thing that's driving you at the moment?
Um. Well, firstly, I never really bought into the idea of identifying with a job, for example. Uh, I I didn't when I was younger. I always knew that I wanted to do. I never knew what I wanted to do when I was younger. I
Right.
always knew that I didn't really want to go work a job. Um, I I know the main thing I want to do is I want to be able to provide value to
Right.
a small group of people to start with first. So I want to be able to uh, create something which there is at the moment, but I won't go too much into it. Um, that I want to be able to. It's sort of like a gamey sort of service
Right.
for for people that struggle like that, right? So I want to be able to change something, and I've gone through many different phases and periods in my life, and I used to be very driven by money,
Right.
and I've now understood that that's not the main driver, because the chase for money will result in negative actions. Because once you sort of, if you can sell a laptop to someone that's broken for £600, then you're going to do very well in business, but
Right.
you're not going to do very well as a person. So that's the balance I want to be able to find. I never, when I did start working, I started working when I was 13.
Mm.
I was doing labouring for one of my mom's friends, which was very valuable sort of experience and time. We literally did a bit of everything. I did that until I was 16, so all throughout school, in half term and summer and stuff. Um, and I really enjoyed that because I liked taking pressure away from my mum because
Mm.
she had 5 kids and I was the oldest, so I felt a responsibility to be like,
Right.
right, I'm good. You just sort the rest out. So yeah, and then I worked in Aldi, the supermarket for a while. That was fun. Um, they ended up sacking me, right? Because they ended up sacking me because when say like a family or a few people would come in that looked like they could do without being charged for bags, like the
Right.
plastic bags,
Yeah.
I wouldn't charge them for bags. So one day the manager was sat in the office watching me on the cameras, saw me
Wow.
give away, I think 2 or 3 bags to a customer, went through the cameras, found 15 bags that I
Mm.
had given away, right? And they sacked me over that. So,
That's crazy.
but that turned out to work out quite well because after I lost that job, I worked for Just Eat for like just a little interim period between finding another job.
Yeah.
And then I did recruitment for a while. That was really good. I really enjoyed that. I learned a lot about sales. Um, and then that ended up ending not great because my head wasn't fully there. Um, I had a lot of stuff going on. I wasn't sleeping a lot. So I was
Mm.
like edging on being late. And in that sort of environment, it's
Right.
not tolerated at all. So yeah. But I think when my perspective on sort of life and jobs completely changed was when I was 19, maybe 20, and maybe 18 actually. And it was when I was working for a company called Motorway, and
Mm.
I was making stupid money. Like I was making good money, and it was great. It was fine. But it was when I went on holiday with my ex girlfriend. We come back, and I thought, because the office was literally right next to the beach. Right, it was actually opposite. It
Oh.
was actually opposite the flat I used to live in. Right, where all the clubs are.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I come back to work after I went on holiday, and I was just thinking, what the fuck? Like, why am I sat in an office like a dickhead while all these people are on the beach
Yeah.
enjoying themselves? Yeah. So then I tried to. Then I started. There wasn't much thought that went into this one, but then I tried to start a removals company. Um, because I built up some cash. I was like, cool, I'll buy a van and we'll just do some private work. Sweet.
Right.
But to get insured on the van was going to be 70 grand. So that wasn't going to happen. So yeah, now it's just, I think I've lost my way a little bit, to be honest with you. I don't think I'm as, I suppose, into anything really as much as what I used to be. Um, but that's just something obviously that's got to be built up again. Um, but to circle back and answer your question again, it is just to find something that will help people, and whether that's through tech, through fitness, through just conversations, through a service, anything. I want to be able to. I need to really find what that thing is so I can dig into it.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you sharing your story like in that much detail because I think it added even more to like the narrative and people can like see, okay, where you coming from. And my opinion in everything in life is that everything happens for a reason.
Okay.
So I feel like your journey had to happen exactly like that. And you're saying you've lost your way, but then on the other hand, you do know what you're looking for. So maybe you are exactly
Mm.
where you're supposed to be.
I mean, I've done a lot of thinking about this actually. Um, there was a there was a good part of, well, the best part of the last 2.5 years where I haven't been the Kai I was, sort of thing.
Right.
And I've been thinking, and I used to, I was sort of just getting pissed off with myself about it, and like, or frustrated, and like, what's going on? But
Yeah.
now, like you say, I think the 2.5 years have been very valuable. I think, even though it's been shit, like it's not been good. Um,
Hmm.
I think I needed it, and I think even just moving away from here, even though it financially didn't make any sense, I think for me in my life and my, like, what's next,
It
I think
has to happen.
I think it's had to happen.
Yeah, definitely. Um, I also found it very nice what you are currently working towards, and I get that you don't want to talk too much about it, and that's all good.
Mm.
Um, but just from what I heard you explain it as, like figuring something out to help people that struggle, is that also something that's just very dear to your heart? Like, is that something? Um, can If it's possible, can you go into more detail? Like,
Mhm.
what kind of struggles? Like, what is it that? And maybe is there like a personal
Mm.
experience that led to you trying to help in that sort of
Yeah,
those people?
yeah. I think not to like. It's not. We Life wasn't easy growing up. Wasn't difficult or anything bad. It just wasn't. Yeah, it was very different to a lot of people that I knew. Um, and I used to question it and wonder what's going on. But like I say, I realise it's all very necessary. But
Hmm.
I think the fact that I used to really, really just want money, and that was just the driver. I don't care what it was, just money.
Yeah.
Right? That come from not wanting to ask my mum for things or dad for things because I knew they couldn't get it basically.
Provide.
So that's always been a big thing for me. Um, I've seen family members go through some tough stuff. I've seen friends go through tough stuff. Like, it's just, and obviously everyone's been through tough stuff. Like, but it's just about sort of giving people a small bit of low hanging fruit to
Right.
to take and cherish and understand and try and implement for themselves to help whatever situation they're in. Because I think people, I think most people suffer in silence. I think people don't like to talk about things, which is very sad because we all go through the same thing. We
Yeah.
all go through the same sort of thing. We all feel shit about something that happened yesterday. We all feel shit about something about us. There's always something there that's thingy. And when you speak about it, it makes everything easier. And I think conversation is a big thing with what I'd like to do.
Right. I can see that.
Yeah, because I think it does just help. Just even say you've stole what, your mum's wedding ring, for example,
Right.
right? You don't tell her, whatever. As soon as you do get it out to someone or something, it makes the situation easier. You realize you've been a twat. Let's sort this out,
Yeah.
and you can feel, oh, yeah. I don't know. Just this is a weird one for me.
No, but it makes sense, and I feel like you've got a good thing
Thanks.
there that you can definitely work at, and that can definitely provide value because it's definitely something like you said, like people just need something to talk to, and unfortunately, not everyone has people in their lives that they can do that with. So
Yeah. And I am very fortunate that I've got my friend Alfie, and even my family as well, because we've always been very close. I've always been able to talk to both parents about everything
right,
in my life. Like, there's never been any judgment about anything. I mean, unless I've been um, so I feel like it's always been sort of almost natural for me to talk about most things. Obviously, there's still a barrier for others, but most things I'm happy to talk to people about, and I think it's just getting over that fear of wanting to say something. And I think even me saying this now, there's still things that I haven't told people that I should, but to make it better, to make it easier for me.
yeah.
But it's just getting over that hurdle.
Do do you think? And I don't know if I have an answer for myself how I feel about that, but do you think it's possible for someone to have those kind of conversations or just like loading stuff onto other people that you can have the exact same experience doing it with yourself? If someone could really like channel it objectively, like go through these things in their mind,
Yeah.
you think that is achievable?
I think, I think, I think most people nowadays, including myself, they don't have full control over their mind, and it's a very hard thing to do with all the distractions that we've got and the things that we will participate in. Let's say that when I did it, when I really got into my head and really tried to fix the problem at that point in time. So it was when I was working on my last job. I was working for basically DPD,
Right.
delivering parcels. And when I first started, I was like, yeah, sweet, this is fine. I'm just driving around, listening to music. It's
Yeah.
all good. But once you go on a bit longer and you've got small problems coming up and being paid £4 an hour,
Wow.
it gets quite tough. So I thought to myself, look, I'm going to have to continue doing this job until I go. So I can either cry about it every day and bitch about and be pissed off and get pissed off that I'm sat in traffic, or I could appreciate it, because
Right.
I am actually very lucky to firstly be able to drive, to be able to have a car, to be able to look at the beautiful scenery that I'm driving through. And I started putting my attention into other places rather than the negatives. So when I was in traffic, for example, I would look around and try to find, say, a bird, or try to find like something cool in a tree, or something like that, to focus on positive and not worry about the negative. Because for example, being sat in traffic, something you can't control. If you're leaving somewhere at that point in time, it's going to happen, whatever. You can either sit there and be pissed off, or you can sit there and go, oh, this is great. This is nice. Let's just chill out for a moment. So yeah, I think mastering your head is crucial, and it takes a very, very long time. And like I say, I'm not even nearly there, but it makes things. And the last, say, 3 months of that job, I loved every minute, because it was getting cool. Let's see how quickly I can get all the stuff in the van. Sweet.
Yeah.
That's number one. Let's get out. All right, cool. I'm finishing. I'm getting home at 7:30. I started at 7:38. Cool. Whatever. Getting paid £4 an hour? Doesn't matter. I'm getting paid. So yeah. There we go.
I love that story as well. Because I 100 sorry. I 100% agree. Like, mindset is so important. It's because for me as well, every job I ever did, like, I did it for a reason, and going into the job, I knew exactly what I wanted out of it. I knew exactly what I planned to learn on the job. And yeah, similar to your point as well, like, this is gonna happen. Like, I have a plan, and part of the plan is to do this particular job for this amount of time.
Yeah.
If you just go in and you're pissed all day, like, it doesn't change anything. So, yeah, I like that. Just going in there, and whatever you're doing, do it with purpose.
Yeah.
Pretty much. You're doing this right now, like, do it 100%, and then makes your day better as well.
Exactly. And it really did. Like I say, it was a breath of fresh air. Like, it was honestly just one night. I was just laying in bed, and I was just thinking. It started with fuck this job. I was thinking, oh, I'm leaving soon. What else am I going to do? I can even, like I say, bitch about it all the time, or get on with it. So, but then again, I also think it's important to say that I don't feel like staying somewhere just because it's all right is always a thing to follow, because I think, say, I don't know, a bit older, and you're in a job that you don't like, but it's all right, it pays. I think in those situations, get out, for me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I did with a few of mine, because although, like, the sales job, that was great, like, amazing money.
Yeah.
I could not sit in an office. So since then, I've never sat in an office again. So, but then again, there is a lot of good things come out of offices, and there is also, like, and jobs like that. But I think for me, it just doesn't make sense. I was never able to sit still at school for a long time. I could never fully take it seriously being in that environment. So I think I just don't match with it.
Yeah. I mean, the stories you tell, like, actually remind me a little bit of myself.
Yeah.
So when you were saying, like, in the beginning, you were like, oh, I never really wanted to work. I was like, that's me 100%. So that's why I kind of knew exactly what you were going to say about the whole, like, what's your goal in life thing. So I really liked, like, your perspective on that.
Yeah.
One thing that I also found interesting in your story, which isn't there in my story as much, like you said, we all have our things, and to us, our things always seem like most important things, as they should. Like, for everyone, the biggest problem they have is the biggest problem they have. Like, it should be valued that it's a huge problem for them. But without knowing exactly, but just from what you told me, it sounds like struggle was way more, like, in your life than it has been in mine. So, kind of my curious question about that is, now looking back, do you feel like struggle, like, is helpful for evolution? Well, not
100%.
evolution, but, like, development.
Yeah, 100%. I think the saying I come up with a few years ago was, nothing worth having comes easy. So
Right.
you've got to struggle to get to do anything good. And I think whether that's childhood, whether that's a job that you've done, whether that's life problems, whether it's just anything, you learn the most from the biggest problems you face and the biggest mistakes that you make. Me, the past couple of years, big learning curve. Like I said, I was very anti it, but now I'm happy for it. I appreciate it.
Right.
It is valuable. If it was a time that I probably needed, but growing up, I never thought too much about it. It was always just, this is my life. This is it. We've just got to get on. I felt responsibility for my brothers from the moment my first younger brother was born.
Right.
Like I did my sister, but I was heightened when there was a little baby coming along.
Yeah.
So I always loved that. And some people would say, oh yeah, struggle, single harm with, kids, whatever. I used to love it. And I also think it teaches, a greater appreciation for things. I think, yeah, but then again, I don't let this sort of stuff define me. I don't even really like saying it too much because it's not like, oh, I had a really hard life and whatever. It was just finances were tight and we needed to work together basically. So, and we were very, I think as well, part of that was that we were all very tight. We were all very open. We were all very, it was all fun. It was great.
Yeah. The thing, like, I understand, and obviously it should never like define you like that, because I've heard that from a bunch of other people as well.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want it to define me, but yeah, just for myself as well, I do acknowledge that it like provides you, if you can say it like that, but like you said, it provides you like with a lot of learning opportunities.
Yeah.
Because for myself, like, you're 22 now,
Yeah.
so you're still very young.
Mm.
And for me, when I was like 27, 28, there were still things where in interactions and like day to day things, I'm like, I have most of my life figured out, but then a situation comes by and I'm like completely taken aback. I'm fully emotional. And I'm like, yeah, because I never had that struggle when I grew up. So it's the first time I experienced something like that
Yeah.
at 28. And then you still have to learn anew. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I was getting at with the question. Like, if you have that struggle early on, it really like forces you to like adapt to all these things and learn these things
Yeah.
early in life.
Yeah. I think they're both, I think no matter what hand you were dealt, I mean, it's just the way you play it. And
Yeah.
I think no matter if you're born very wealthy or very poor, I think there's very different values installed from both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
But I think they're both very valuable in their own way. And I think obviously there's no correct way to live. There's no correct way to life. It's just whatever you see. So yeah, I just think learning, trying shit, failing, fucking up, being a dick. It's all very valuable stuff for a period, not forever.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, not to a huge extent, but I feel like even when you're 60 or 70, you should still, to your point as well, like fail to or strive to fail greater. Because every time you try something, you're gonna learn.
Yeah, exactly. Which is also why I love playing you at chess. Because I'm awful and you're very good. So it's nice to learn from someone who's considerably better than me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I like to play Matteo as well. With him, it's still a lot of learning for myself as well.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, um let's go back to, because the listeners of the podcast obviously know, one of my favorite things to talk about is Thailand.
Okay.
'Cause I love Thailand. So
Okay.
I guess I'll just have to ask a little bit about what you been up to in Thailand. Like, what's the places you got to see while you were there?
So we didn't actually see a great deal. I mean, we were only there for like 2 weeks, and like I said,
Right.
the first week was basically just looking for remote work. It was just doing tests, doing case studies and stuff.
Right.
And then when we had complete like 5 or whatever, we were like, this has taken us too long. This is just going to be ridiculous. I mean, so we then thought, right, let's actually go and see some stuff. So we were in Bangkok to start with, which I thought was carnage. I thought this was nothing. It was nothing like what I expected at all. It was so busy. It was so big. It was so built up. I was like, whoa. So we stayed there for a few nights, about maybe 3 or 4 nights, and then we got the sleeper train up to Chiang Mai. Sleeper train was quite nice. It was that journey. I slept the whole way through. That was great. Then we went to Chiang Mai. We stayed in Chiang Mai for, I don't know, maybe a week, maybe just over a week or just under. Met some really nice people there.
It's a great place.
Yeah, it was. It really was. We went out for a few meals with these groups of people, which is very valuable. They were very insightful and welcoming and friendly, which is really nice. We've made a good friend from over in Chiang Mai, Inon. He was nice. He was great. And then we went back to. We went to Pai.
Of course you did.
Yeah, Pai. Yeah, we didn't. Do you know what though? We didn't do any like partying. We didn't. We I think we had maybe in Thailand maybe 8 beers each in the 2 weeks, 3 weeks that we were there. So we didn't do anything crazy. But Pai, that was really nice. Actually, we did do mushrooms in Pai. We did mushrooms because in our hostel, it was really nice. The hostel, we had a nice pool.
You have to.
It was yeah. Well, actually, I wasn't going to do them to start with. I felt like, no, actually, I'm all right for today. But when we got back, there was a little bit left, so I did that little bit, and I was like, I was not expecting this much from what this bigger trip from what I took.
It's like, why is my head so numb?
Well, I was just in the pool actually. I was like just shimmying across the side of the pool, just feeling my weightless legs. Like it was great. It was great. Yeah, we went to the canyon. We went to the sticky waterfall. We spent quite a long time in the canyon actually. We did for 3 or 4 hours. We were just walking about.
You watched the sunset as well?
We didn't see the sunset. We went at I think 11 in the morning.
Oh,
so yeah, we just chilled around there. We sat on some edges and chilled out and just looked.
That's such a cool place to chill as well.
Yeah. The sticky waterfall was great. We met up with some Americans. There was some Israelis. There was some Italians. I think there was about 10 of us. Oh, there's a Scot. There was actually a couple of English. So that was really good. Nearly fell over a few times. But it was all fine now with that. And then got a train back. Didn't sleep at all on that train. Then did a whole day in Bangkok again with our bags on our backs.
Oh yeah.
And then got a flight over at 10 p.m. And then I've arrived here, and like I say, it was great seeing my sister, just giving her a hug. And then now we're just working, and we'll see. We're gonna do a road trip across Australia.
Oh yeah,
in a few months. So that's.
Do you have like destinations?
No. It's just an idea at the moment. We'll figure that out. But I do definitely want to do a road trip. I've never done like a proper road trip before. I've driven to Germany, but it's not like a road trip. It's just like it is a road trip, but
the dimensions are different.
Yeah. Or maybe camping and stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
I suppose that's the plan at the moment. That's been the travels. That's been the journey. I've been to New York before. I've been to Turkey a few times, Tenerife, which aren't very exciting, but they're places. Netherlands. Okay, somewhere else. But yeah, there we go.
How'd you like? Just because I think it was the second to last podcast with Diogo. He was just basically writing out his love letter to Turkey on the podcast. Like he had amazing stories to tell. And he was like all these like landscapes he was recommending. So how do you like Turkey?
I loved it, to be honest with you. But it was we went to I went twice with my mum, and my at that point it was just me, mum, my sister, and my oldest younger brother. Um, but then we went a few years ago. I think it was actually in COVID. I think it was 2020.
Oh yeah.
We went to Turkey and we just did it was just all inclusive hotel. So we just stayed there. We did a couple of excursions, but we didn't really get to see, we didn't really see Turkey. We just sort of got pissed and
Yeah.
like the English do.
No, but it's a like it's actually a very uh, common thing for Germans to do as well. Like they
Yeah.
go to Turkey to these like all-inclusive resorts. I think that's why they're building them up because people are just coming to use them. Like, so yeah, it's very common for Germans to do that sort of thing as well. Obviously, we got like Mallorca as well. Like Palma de Mallorca is like a hot spot for Germans, but Turkey, I think, is the second best.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that have been to Turkey, and I suppose Tenerife as well. But Tenerife is good. I went once when I was like 3 or 4, and then to go see one of my mum's friends, and then went again my ex-girlfriend. And that was actually the holiday that I come back from, and
Oh
I
yeah,
said "fuck you" to work.
correct.
So yeah, it's nice. I do like. Yeah, I just can't wait to travel some more. I just
Well, I mean, now that you're like in this area of the world, you have so many. Like you have Asia right there.
yeah,
You're also not too far from South America.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's a good
yeah,
spot to be in to like.
definitely. And it is, yeah.
I mean, it's if you want to go back to Europe, obviously it's bad, but like all the other stuff,
There is no way
it's close.
back to well England just yet. Yeah,
No, but I feel like it's a great plan that the two of you have. Just like get out of that system for a bit and just see what you can achieve without all that hanging above you. And then,
yeah.
I mean, if you feel like coming back at some point, yeah, if you find a place here where you're just like, I'm going to live for the rest of my life, great as well. You know, it's like,
Yeah. Well, I don't know because I've always wanted to. I definitely want to go to a Spanish-speaking part of the world
oh yeah,
because I've always loved the language.
yeah,
I've done a bit on Duolingo, so I know close to fuck all, but
that's like,
um, yeah. So I'd like to go to anywhere Spanish-speaking. Probably next because I need to get some language under my arsenal. I need to.
hmm.
I can't just know English. I've got to know at least another language.
Whoa. I mean, my plan after Australia is to go to South America.
Yeah.
It was the plan. Well, the plan actually was New Zealand and then South America.
Okay.
But I was in New Zealand and I was okay, you're turning 30. That means you can still do the thing in Australia
Yeah.
because it's 30 for Germans. I don't know how. It's 35.
35. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 30 for German citizens.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, I can still do it now. Might as well. So after I do my 2 years, because I can do 2 years,
Yeah.
um, then I'll definitely be off to South America and I want to see a lot of places there as well.
Yeah. So what's your plan?
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. It's so what happened was I was working in Portugal and had like three or four, something like that, almost 4 years there that were amazing. I
Yeah.
loved the job, I loved the people, I loved the city.
Yeah.
And I was sort of like, I'll probably grow old in Portugal if I don't like do something else. So I kind of quit my job like with half a year advance just because I felt like it's the right thing to do. End of the year, and then I had time to plan.
Yeah.
And initially, I told everyone I'm going to South America. Like that was the initiator. It was like, I need to go see something else, South America.
Yeah.
And then I was researching a little bit. So what travel can you do? How can you get along South America? And I basically came to the conclusion that it's not the easiest, like infrastructure wise, like, to get a job, like earn some money while you travel as well. And then I came back to working holiday countries. So it's like Australia or New Zealand. And then I've been to Australia for 3 months, just touristy, after I lived in Indonesia.
Okay.
So after I did that, I was here for 3 months. So I was like, "Okay, you've already seen the country, let's go to New Zealand."
Yeah.
And then yeah, and then in New Zealand, I was like, "Yeah, might as well do Australia now." But the plan afterwards is definitely to see a lot of, South America, visit a lot of my friends. I got friends in Brazil, Argentina,
Mhm.
Chile, Peru, Colombia. So a lot of people, a
Yeah.
lot of lovely people, who'd love to like show me around and show me
Yeah.
like the local
Yeah.
stuff there as well. And let's see after that. Like for now, my plan in my head is actually just me traveling. I don't have anything in my head of like settling down somewhere.
Yeah.
If it comes up at some point, great. But
Yeah.
as long as it doesn't, I'm
Just keep 'em going.
just keep on exploring.
Yeah. I think that's to be honest with you, I think that's where my head is at the moment. I think I just keep on getting physical money with the day job, and then keep on pushing at the other thing to
Yeah.
hopefully just manifest later on. Because it's just small, yeah, small steps. But because I've always tried to rush everything as well. Like I said,
Yeah.
I'm very competitive. I don't like losing, so
Right.
I try to, yeah, rush it. And I guess the past has said that's not the best way to do it, because things end up going wrong. Things end up backfiring. So yeah, but I'm excited.
Yeah. I mean, what I learned with the podcast as well is just consistency is so much more important
Yes.
than
Anything else? Yeah,
yeah.
consistency. So even if it's shit, even if it is just it's something, it is a thing there done. And say for a podcast, for example, you can say the wrong thing or whatever. That's just something you can learn from later on.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure I'll be laughing at this when I listen to it.
No, that was actually quite a good one.
Yeah,
No, it sincerely was. I
I
don't know
appreciate that.
why you would be laughing about
Yeah,
it.
okay.
It was very, very inspirational.
That's nice to hear. That is nice to hear. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I guess it's almost time for us to uh cut it off as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like we had a great like yeah, looking behind the curtain a little bit,
Yeah.
seeing because it's always interesting to hear people's opinions, but if you know a little bit more about what the person's been through, it gives you an even better understanding, like where they're at,
Where it comes
like
from. Yeah.
what. So I really appreciated that. I really enjoyed
Good. No, thanks.
going down that thing and talking about important things
Yeah.
for people to hear as well,
Yeah.
and maybe help them on their little journey, whatever passion project they have going on
Good.
in their life. So
I hope so. If it's just one person, then
exactly.
that will warm my heart. That will definitely warm my heart.
All right. So yeah, with that, thank you again, Kai. Thank you for
Thank
taking
you.
the time and sitting down with me.
It's been great. Yeah, I appreciate having me on.
I'm glad if
It's
you
been fun.
actually enjoyed it as well.
I did. This is great. It's my first podcast, so I didn't know what to expect, but this is yeah, I loved it. It's great. Thanks.
Nice. Yeah. So with that, we'll say goodbye, everyone, and see you next time.
Thank you.